I don't know if you can hear it, but I think someone is making some saw kicks. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Should be a hardstyle producer. When I started music production, there were like maybe 5 or 10 tutorials in total, but those tutorials were mostly like showcases of gigs and how a sound should sound, but they were never any real tutorials or anything like that. But I never watched them because fuck tutorials! Yeah, there were like some tutorials I have watched, like how to use Serum and how to use a compressor and such. These days it's pretty normal to search for any tutorial made by, for example, On Point Samples. I'm not saying that watching a tutorial is bad or anything, but just the feeling of having found a certain sound or being on a festival, hearing a sort of kick that instantly inspires you, and then going back to your own studio, trying to recreate that same feeling, that same kick, that is so much more of an accomplishment in my opinion than just going to search on YouTube for a tutorial to make that certain type of kick or that certain type of melody sound. Again, I'm not saying that it's wrong to use any tutorials, but I do feel like that there is way too much for people to use instead of going out there in the studio and making their own shit and finding it out for themselves. I would say go try and find your own ways instead of immediately going to the internet. No. Don't search what you want. Create what you want. Ah, shit. Mom, I forgot my line. I'm walking for about half an hour now. Haven't seen any geese or whatever, and it just had to happen. Fuck them, they ambushed me. Relax, I'm going around you. Fuck you though. I ain't your typical Dutch 23-year-old. I wear a hat, I have a pretty beard. Also, I am living in my own 2-story apartment. So yeah, that I'm not your average Dutch guy, that's pretty clear. And okay, I can understand that people think about me like, dude, just do normal. And to those people I have to say, you can kiss my non-existing ass. I had a really interesting conversation with Carola. We were talking about the usage of AI and then mostly the usage of AI vocals. And honestly, a lot of vocalists or MCs or singers or whatever are pretty pricey, and that's really understandable since they do put in real work and do the thing you can do yourself. But that's not what I want to talk about in this case. We were mostly talking about the usage of AI and the honesty behind it. I have seen a lot of producers or influencers that call themselves artists that do use AI, and then when they get called out about it, they say, oh, but I did it myself, you know, I did it myself. Ooh, don't say I use AI. Fuck you! If you use AI, just say it. It's hurting yourself way more if you lie towards your audience and towards other people about the use of certain tools instead of just saying it. It's not necessarily a crime or something to use AI, but it's not cool to lie about it. It's sort of the same with the use of sample packs. In my opinion, it isn't necessarily wrong to use a sample pack kick, but if you say towards your fans and your co-producers, look at my kick that I made, but the kick you show is a kick out of a sample pack, that doesn't work, you know? You dig your own grave with lying towards your audience. It's exactly the same with the use of AI.
Oké, wat je nu gewoon zegt klopt gewoon van geen kanten.
It isn't the same as using a sample pack. A sample pack is made by real humans and made with intent to use it. AI is just stealing from other creators. So the moment you use AI, you actually steal. And while using a sample pack, you have permission to use it. You could argue that by uploading your music to Spotify, you automatically give permission, since it's in their policy that they use tracks on their platform to train AI and such. But hey, that's a whole different discussion.
So, like I said before, I'm a 23-year-old living in my own apartment, sitting on my own balcony, smoking a little cigarette, having an energy drink. This is life, man. What the fuck? Like, if you said to me 1 year earlier that this was going to become my life, I wouldn't believe you. Not for a dime.
And the reason for pointing this out, here in the Netherlands we have such a big problem with housing and such that it is not common to live in a house or an apartment having it all by themselves. Like, I don't have any roommates, I don't have anyone to share the rent with, and with the current market of housing, that isn't possible. Like, you could have a dream job and still not have a house just because there are no houses. And then me has one. Again, I am really happy I have my own place, but it's not that common in my experience for a 23-year-old to have their own place.
This playground where I'm currently at is the playground where I always used to play as a kid when visiting my grandma. And it's like still intact as I remember it. It brings back real good memories.
You are allowed to say whatever you want about my beard, okay? But I want to show something that's underneath that beard. What the fuck is that for ugly